lesson for today. So this is the continuity of the meeting 2, which we will talk about. The third lesson is about the maintaining the security of operation. Okay, so when we talk about this is the scope whereby we have learned about these developing the security policy, and we have learned about implementing and what's inside the information assurance framework. And now we will look into the security of each operation that we have defined inside the policy, and also according to the information assurance framework. Okay, let's continue. We're still under the protect phase, yeah, because creating the SOP is part of the protection action for your organization to make sure it follows the correct way of securing all the asset and information within your organization. Okay, what is inside this security of operation? It consists of 3 main things. Is you need to know the aim, and how can you identify those alerts. So there are 4 things that you need to know about that, and how to implement the operational security. And finally, what are the housekeeping things that you need to do in order to make sure your operational security measures and the SOP are always relevant. Okay, so when we are talking about this security operation, it is the critical part of information assurance life cycle, because it involves the integrity and performance, meaning that everyone in your organization must follow the same SOP across organization. There's no excuses, yeah. Although some says that we need special privilege for the IT department because we are the admin, we are the one who create this system and so on. But eventually, you should set the same SOP, and the special privilege only can be given if there is a special request as well, and it must be properly controlled. So that's how you can remain the integrity within your organization, regardless of they are the normal business user or they are the IT operation team. Okay, so how can we align it with the practice? We can identify those factors based on the people. Yeah, again, as I said, people play a really big role in any organization. So people who use the system, or what are their motivation here, and then what type of the system. So you need to create the SOP based on the system that you use in your organization, and what are the sensitive data. This also means your assets and the way your organization do the business. It's more or less on the culture, and then how rigor and extent you want to cover it, yeah. And then finally, it's about the risk model. Perhaps or you shouldn't have some kind of SOP if it incur more risk, or in some SOP you should enforce it, because by having this kind of SOP, you can reduce the risk of any threat or any incident to happen. Okay, so this is how we can align from the business processes until you go to the operation in a secured manner. Means that when you look into the information assurance practice, we must assess the business process. Okay, and this is your security objective. So you need to think of and formulate your own information assurance practice, and you must assess. This is where we do the assessment, the risk assessment, likelihood, and so on. So we need to have some kind of a scenario planning, or you can forecast it. What will happen if it fails to meet the objective? Okay, what's the impact? Only then you can come up with a proper risk model. which leads to the risk mitigation decision, whereby you might need to suggest to change the practice, or you can modify the requirement. This involves on the technical parts, technology, and this is more on the human being. Okay, so both human and technical factor are equally important, and with that only you can come up with a new alignment for your organization. And what about the threat? Yeah, because when we do the SOP or we do the policy, you really need to understand the threat. So most of us knows that threat are two types, either proactive or reactive, right? So the proactive involve we identify the threat and vulnerability. So we can create the assessment and optimization of secured solution, and we can implement the control to protect. The keyword here is to protect, whereby if you have the reactive response or activities, it means that you need to detect quickly and react it with the best manners, yeah, to control the damage. And the most important thing is timely manners. So this is the key word. So if you look at the diagram here, the proactive is here. We base on risk. Yeah, we already do the risk assessment. Only then you will know what are the correct proactive activities that you should make. Whereby for the reactive is how can you stop those damage, and your action meet the objective, and either you can stop it completely. So this is the breakout point. And the second part is how to stay alert. Yeah, there are 4 ways for you to stay alert with all these security measures. You must have some kind of sensing, analyzing, managing, and responding. It's a complete cycle of protection. For example, from the sensing, it must be done continuously, and you must define it by the policy, procedure, tools, and standard. Normally, we already have a tool to sense any threat, and from that, you can learn from the pattern and identify which one is the real threat or which one is just the false attempt. Okay, so the security assurance objective require the documentary evidence of feasible information assurance and security perimeter, and it's overall the concept of SOP procedure. And it also involves the generic operational testing and review plan until it comes with the BCP and the RP and assurance that all capable of utilizing their security functional relevant for their function and position in the organization. So once you have sensed the threat, what is the next action? So you will analyze, and then you will decide or suggest what will be the best decision. It consists of you can have a threat assessment, meaning that you understand what are the consequences, and you can do the impact analysis. Only then you will know what is the best solution. Reporting, of course, because every incident or every threat you need to report it to both top management and also the technical team, and authorization, because any action that will what we call it will involve the cost, especially under human resource. You need a proper authorization, not just rely on the IT department itself. And next is on the responding. Okay, how can you respond and who should you respond when there's any attack? Yeah, so that's why policy play a big role, because we clearly define the roles and the responsibility. So by right, you should respond to the proper channel using the proper authorization, and it must be defined and clearly stated. But still, a proper responding is depends on the confidentiality and also privacy of your organization itself. You cannot simply announce it to the rest of the organization, right? Because it gonna create a bigger chaos later. So you must respond according to the right channel. And lastly is on the managing. After the incident has happened, so what should you do? Just leave it as it is, or the CQI, the continuous quality improvement phase? Yeah. So it should have a meeting after any incident, and we need to get a lesson learned from that. So in short, you can say that all the information assurance process involve a routine function, which is plan, design, administer, and maintain. Okay, if not, if you don't practice this kind of cycle, your information security or information assurance is more like a firefighting method lah, kan? When there is any incident or any thing happen, only then you will act or you will do the task accordingly. Okay, so this is some example of the threat response. If we consider it as a proactive, meaning that you setting up the security requirement, you perform the risk analysis, you do the threat analysis, you do the coding guideline, means that for any software code that you write, you set a guideline. Yeah, the programmer shouldn't simply write according to what they like. Because there is a secure practice of software development, and you do the code review, because without a proper code review, the malware or any attacks can what we call it, be part or injected into your code and become a virus later. It easily can attack your the whole operation later. And then also we do the static code analysis. And then what about the reactive? Reactive means when anything has happened. So we do the pen test, of course, to detect where is the problem start and until where it goes. And then we do the dynamic code analysis. Dynamic means the code is still running, you cannot stop the operation of the software or the apps. So you need to detect and stop the threat. So that's why it called dynamic. And we also do the vulnerability scanning and the web application firewall. Yeah, because something happened already. So whatever it is, you need to look at the firewall to detect where does the damage gone so far. And then the incident response plan. This is the last one. When incident happen, you still need to come up with a plan. We cannot simply take the action without a proper plan.